My sister said, "This wedding is for people who matter, you can stay home." So I smiled politely and showed up as the venue owner who canceled her event. Your one click helps more than you know. Subscribe and drop a comment saying where you're watching from. Let's see how far this story goes. The words hit me like ice water. Look, Janelle, this wedding is for people who actually matter in our lives. You can just stay home. My sister Crystalline's voice dripped with contempt through the phone, and I could hear her fiancé Carlos laughing in the background. My hands trembled as I gripped my cell phone tighter, standing in the middle of my newly renovated event venue, Luminescence Gardens. The same venue where I'd spent 3 years pouring my savings, my sweat, and my dreams into every corner. "Crystal, I'm your sister," I managed, hating how my voice cracked. "I helped raise you when Mama died. I paid for your college applications. And I'm supposed to be grateful forever?" she snapped. "You're always throwing that in my face. This is MY Day and I don't want your judgmental energy there. Carlos's family is old money and frankly you don't fit the aesthetic we're going for." The aesthetic. I looked down at my paint-stained work clothes, then around at the crystal chandeliers I'd installed myself. The irony wasn't lost on me. "What does Daddy say about this?" "Daddy agrees with me. He's walking me down the aisle and that's all that matters. Besides, you got the venue booking, didn't you? Be happy with your little check." She hung up. I stood there, phone still pressed to my ear, listening to dead air. The booking. My mind raced back 3 weeks to when a woman named Patricia Thornton had reserved Luminescence Gardens for her daughter's wedding. May 14th. Top-tier package. $35,000. I'd never connected the dots. Patricia had remarried after Daddy divorced her when I was 19. I'd taken Mama's maiden name, Washington, for my business. Crystal kept Daddy's name, Morrison. My sister had no idea I owned the venue she'd just booked. I sank onto the velvet bench in my venue's bridal suite, memories flooding back like a broken dam. Mama's funeral flashed before my eyes. Me at 17 holding 11-year-old Crystal as she sobbed into my shoulder. "Don't leave me, JJ," she'd whispered, using my childhood nickname. "Promise you won't leave me like Mama did." I'd made that promise through my own tears, kissing her forehead. I kept it too. While my friends went to college dorms, I commuted from home to Wayne State, working 2 jobs to keep our childhood house. Daddy had remarried Patricia within 18 months, a calculated move that shocked everyone who knew him. Patricia brought her own money and her own coldness into our lives. She'd look at me like I was furniture, something inconvenient she had to work around. "Your daddy needs to move forward," she told me once, rearranging Mama's pictures in the living room. "And that means your little mother-daughter routines need to end." I was 19, still grieving, still trying to hold Crystal together while finishing my business degree. Crystal had been different then. She'd sneak into my room at night, asking me to braid her hair the way Mama used to. We'd watch old movies and eat popcorn and she'd tell me about her day. "You're the only one who really sees me, JJ," she'd said during one of those nights. "Everyone else wants me to be something I'm not." When had that changed? I traced the shift back to her sophomore year at Spelman. Patricia had started taking her on girls' trips to Martha's Vineyard, introducing her to Carlos's family. Crystal came back different each time, her words sharper, her hugs briefer, her eyes colder when they landed on me. My assistant manager, Deshawn, found me still sitting there an hour later. "Boss, you good? The Thornton party is here for their final walkthrough." My blood ran cold. Deshawn, a Howard graduate with impeccable instincts, immediately clocked my expression. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." "The bride," I said slowly, "is my sister. She just uninvited me from her wedding. The wedding that's happening here in 3 weeks. She has no idea I own this place." Deshawn's eyes went wide. "Hold up. Your sister? The one you always talk about putting through school? The one you helped raise after our mother died? Yes. I stood up, straightening my blazer. Professional. I had to stay professional. Show them in. Let's see how this plays out. The consultation room doors opened and Crystal walked in like she owned the space. She'd changed. Her natural curls were now pressed bone straight. Her clothes screamed Neiman Carlos, and she moved with an affected grace that felt foreign. Patricia followed, then Carlos, whose cold eyes appraised every detail. Behind them came Carlos's mother, Vivian, dripping in pearls. This will have to do, Vivian sniffed, running a white-gloved finger along my marble countertop. It's not the country club, but Patricia assured us it photographs well. Crystal didn't even look at me directly. We need to discuss the final head count. We're down to 208 guests. We've had to make some cuts. Family members who don't align with our vision. Deshawn coughed to cover a laugh. I kept my face neutral. I see. And these cuts were necessary. Absolutely, Patricia interjected, her voice saccharine. This is a sophisticated affair. We can't have certain elements bringing down the ambience. Carlos finally spoke, his voice carrying the casual cruelty of old money. My family has standards. This wedding is about making the right connections, establishing the right image. We've already had to explain away certain complications in Crystal's background. He glanced at his mother, who nodded approvingly. Complications. The word came out before I could stop it. Crystal's eyes finally met mine, and for a split second I saw something flicker. Recognition, maybe guilt. But it vanished. Carlos means my father's first marriage. The whole tragic backstory isn't exactly cocktail conversation material. Dead mothers, struggled finances, scholarship students. She waved her hand dismissively. It's not the narrative we're presenting. I felt something crack inside my chest. Mama. She was erasing Mama. Your mother died of breast cancer when you were 11. She worked 3 jobs to make sure you had everything you needed. I know what she did, Crystal snapped. And I appreciate it. But that was then. This is now. This is about my future, not dwelling on a past that holds me back. Vivian smiled approvingly. Such maturity, Crystal. You understand that marriage is about elevation, not sentiment. Deshawn stepped forward. Ms. Washington, should I bring out the final contract for signatures? He emphasized my name deliberately. I caught the question in his eyes. Do you want me to blow this up right now? I shook my head slightly. Not yet. Yes, please. Ms. Morrison, you'll need to review the cancellation policy carefully. It's quite specific. Patricia pulled out her reading glasses. I'm sure everything is standard. We've done this before. Her tone implied I was a novice. As she read, I watched Crystal examine my venue with new eyes. She ran her hand along the silk drapes I'd stayed up for 48 hours straight to install. She studied the custom light fixtures I'd designed myself. She stood in the garden where I'd planted every rose bush. That evening I sat in my office above the venue, staring at Crystal's contract. My phone buzzed, a text from my father. Sweetheart, can we talk? Patricia told me about Crystal's wedding venue. I didn't know it was yours. This is complicated. Complicated. That was his favorite word. It had been complicated when he married Patricia 18 months after burying his wife. Complicated when he stopped coming to my college events because Patricia found them boring. Complicated when he missed my venue's grand opening because it coincided with Patricia's charity gala. I called him. He answered on the first ring. Janelle, honey. Don't. My voice was steel. Don't honey me. Did you know Crystal uninvited me from her wedding? Silence. Then, Patricia thought it would be easier. Less drama. Crystal's been stressed and you two have had your differences. We had no differences until Patricia decided I was an embarrassment. Until you let her rewrite our family history. My voice echoed in the empty office. Mama's been dead 12 years, and you've let that woman erase her like she never existed. That's not fair, Janelle. I loved your mother. But life moves forward. Patricia has been good for me, good for Crystal. Good for Crystal? She just called Mama's death a complication in her backstory. She's ashamed of where she came from, of who raised her, of me. The words poured out, years of swallowed hurt surfacing. I kept our house running when you checked out. I made sure Crystal had everything she needed. I gave up my own dreams for 2 years to make sure she could have hers. And now I'm not sophisticated enough for her wedding. You're being dramatic, he said, and those words, Mama's least favorite phrase, broke something in me. I own the venue, Daddy. Luminescence Gardens is mine. Crystal has no idea. After hanging up on my father, I did something I'm not proud of. I logged into my venue's social media accounts and started researching. Carlos Wellington III came from pharmaceutical money. Old family, new scandals. His father was currently under investigation for price-fixing medications. His mother Vivian had been married 3 times, each husband wealthier than the last. Carlos himself had a reputation in Detroit's social circles. Charming, ambitious, and ruthless. I found Crystal's private Instagram, the one she thought I didn't know about. The comments from her new friends were revealing. Finally upgraded from that sad backstory. One read. Another, your future Emil is going to make sure you never have to think about where you came from again. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Janelle Washington? A woman's voice, older, tired. My name is Carmen. Carmen Wellington. I'm Carlos's ex-wife. The floor tilted. Ex-wife. He didn't tell your sister, did he? Carmen's laugh was bitter. We were married for 3 years. He was 22, I was 20. His family made me sign an NDA when we divorced, but I've been watching him hunt for his next victim, and I can't stay quiet anymore. Your sister needs to know what she's marrying into. For the next hour, Carmen painted a picture of Carlos that made my blood run cold. Controlling. Manipulative. Verbally abusive behind closed doors. He needs a wife who fits his image, Carmen explained. When I started questioning his family's business practices, when I suggested he get therapy for his anger issues, I became a problem to be solved. The Wellington family pays well for silence, Janelle. But some things are more important than money. Why are you telling me this? Because I was like your sister once. Ambitious. Willing to overlook red flags for the promise of a better life. And I lost myself. I lost years I can't get back. I called an emergency meeting with Deshawn and my event coordinator, Tamika. Tamika had been my first hire, a single mother who'd worked her way up from server to senior planner. She'd known me since before the venue, back when we both worked at a hotel banquet hall. I need to tell you both something, I started. The whole story spilled out. Crystal, the uninvitation, Carlos's ex-wife, everything. When I finished, they sat in stunned silence. Tamika spoke first. So what are you going to do? Cancel the wedding? I don't know. The admission felt like weakness. Part of me wants to. But part of me still sees that 11-year-old girl crying at our mother's funeral. What if I'm just being petty? What if I cancel and she never forgives me and I really do lose her forever? Boss, Deshawn said gently, with all respect, I think you already lost her. The question is whether you're going to lose yourself too by enabling this. That hit hard. What would you do? I'd ask myself what my mama would want, Tamika said. Would she want you to let Crystal walk into a marriage with a man who's already hiding an ex-wife? Would she want you to accept being erased from your sister's life? Before I could answer, my office door burst open. Crystal stood there, mascara-streaked face, chest heaving. You own this place? You own Luminescence Gardens. Behind her, Patricia looked furious. How did you? Daddy told me. He told me everything. How could you not say anything? How could you just sit there during our consultation like some stranger? How could I? The laugh that escaped me was sharp. How could you uninvite me from your wedding and tell me I don't matter? How could you call our mother's death a complication? How could you become someone I don't even recognize? You're jealous. Crystal screamed. You've always been jealous that I got out, that I made something of myself beyond this. Beyond what, Crystal? Beyond our family? Beyond the sister who sacrificed everything for you? I stood facing her fully. I got a call today. From Carmen Wellington. Carlos's ex-wife. The ex-wife he conveniently forgot to mention to you. The color drained from Crystal's face. Patricia stepped forward. That's a lie. Carlos was never married. His mother would have told us. His mother helped cover it up. Carmen was 20 when they married, fresh out of college, ambitious. Sound familiar? He divorced her when she stopped being useful to his image. The Wellington family paid her to stay quiet, but she's watched him do this before. I pulled out my phone, showing Carmen's contact information. Call her yourself. Or don't. But you should know what you're marrying into. Carlos appeared in the doorway. Crystal, don't listen to her. She's obviously trying to sabotage our wedding because she's bitter about her sad little life. Sad little life? Deshawn stood up. She built this venue from nothing. She owns a business that's been featured in Martha Stewart weddings. She's done that while putting your fiancé through school and dealing with your family's condescension. But sure, sad little life. Carlos's mask slipped. Crystal, we're leaving. No. This is exactly the kind of drama I warned you about. This is why certain people can't be included in important moments. They create chaos. Don't, I said to Crystal. Don't let him do this. Don't let him make you doubt yourself or your family or reality. That's what manipulators do. They isolate you, make you dependent on their version of truth. Crystal looked between us, tears streaming. I can't. She turned to Patricia. Did you know? Did you know about any of this? Patricia's silence was damning. Crystal's face crumpled. You did. Oh my God, you knew. I knew Carlos had been married before, Patricia admitted. Many young people make mistakes. It wasn't relevant. Crystal walked to my window, staring out at the garden below. Mama used to garden, she said quietly. She had roses. Pink ones. She said they represented grace and gratitude. She turned to me, and for the first time in years I saw my little sister. You planted pink roses downstairs. I planted them for her. For us. This whole venue. I built it dreaming that maybe one day you'd get married here and it would be like she was with us. My voice broke. I never meant to exclude you. I built this including you in every decision, every detail. I've been so cruel to you. Crystal's whisper filled the room. When did I become so cruel? Carlos moved toward her. Crystal, let's go. This emotional manipulation is exactly what I've been protecting you from. Protecting me? Crystal spun on him. Tell me about Carmen. Tell me the truth. There's nothing to tell. A youthful mistake handled discreetly. My family has a reputation to maintain. Like mine didn't matter? Like my family's history is something to be ashamed of. Crystal's voice grew stronger. My mother died fighting for me. My sister raised me. Those aren't complications, Carlos. That's my life. That's who I am. Vivian appeared in the doorway. Carlos, I told you to handle this. Crystal dear, you're being hysterical. Every family has difficult moments. What matters is moving forward with dignity. Dignity. Tamika, who'd been silent, suddenly spoke up. I've coordinated 73 weddings in this venue. You want to know what I've learned? The marriages that last aren't the ones with the most expensive flowers or the most exclusive guest lists. They're the ones where people show up as themselves with their real families, with their truth. If you can't bring your sister to your wedding, if you have to hide where you came from, you're not starting a marriage. You're starting a performance. The office fell silent. Crystal looked at Carlos, really looked at him, and I watched her see what I'd been seeing. The calculation in his eyes, the way he was already crafting his next manipulation. I need to talk to Carmen, Crystal said. I need to hear this from her. Absolutely not, Vivian declared. That woman is unstable and vindictive. She was paid generously to disappear from our lives. She was paid to stay silent about what happened during their marriage, I corrected. There's a difference. And she's willing to break that silence because she doesn't want another woman to go through what she did. Carlos's face darkened. If you contact her, Crystal, we're done. I won't be disrespected like this. I won't have my integrity questioned by some desperate woman trying to ruin my life. Then we're done. Crystal's words came out strong, clear. Because if your integrity can't withstand questions, it's not integrity at all. Patricia gasped. Crystal Morrison, you will not throw away this opportunity. Do you know how many women would kill to marry into the Wellington family? Then let them, Crystal said. I'm not killing myself, who I am, where I come from, for anyone. He turned to me. Gee, I've been horrible. Worse than horrible. I let them convince me that love and loyalty were weaknesses. That being grateful was being small. That my past was something to overcome instead of honor. I know, I said softly. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't even know how to ask for it. But I need to ask something else. She took a shaky breath. Can I cancel this wedding? Can I walk away from all of this? It's your booking, I said. You have the power to cancel any time. Carlos stepped forward, aggressive now. There's a cancellation fee. A significant one. And my family will sue for emotional damages for what? Deshawn interrupted, pulling out his phone. For the truth coming out. Because I recorded this whole conversation. Every word. Carlos's face went white. You can't do that. That's illegal. Actually, Deshawn smiled. Michigan is a one-party consent state. I'm the one party who consented. And this recording? It's very interesting. Threats of lawsuits. Admission of covering up a previous marriage. Discussion of paying people to stay silent. I'm thinking the Detroit Free Press would love this story. Local pharmaceutical heir caught hiding ex-wife from new fiancé. It's got real viral potential. Vivian moved faster than I expected, reaching for Deshawn's phone. He stepped back smoothly. It's already uploaded to cloud storage, ma'am. And I've sent it to 3 different email addresses. You can't delete it. You're blackmailing us, Patricia accused. No, I said calmly. We're protecting my sister. There's a difference. Here's what's going to happen. Crystal is going to cancel this wedding. You're going to accept that cancellation without any legal action, any retaliation, or any harassment. In exchange, this recording stays private. The story stays quiet. The Wellington family's reputation remains intact. And if we refuse? Carlos's voice was ice. Then I release everything. The recording. Carmen's story. Screenshots from your family's NDAs with 3 other women you've dated and discarded. Oh yes, Carmen connected me with them too. They're all willing to talk now. I hadn't known I had this kind of steel in me, but years of swallowed pain were fueling it. You'll be infamous, Carlos. Your family's pharmaceutical company is already under investigation. This won't help. Vivian and Patricia exchanged glances. The calculation was visible, weighing their options, their pride, their exposure. Fine, Vivian finally said. Crystal, dear, I think you're making a mistake, but if this is your choice, we'll respect it. The engagement is over. The engagement was over the moment you all lied to me, Crystal said. I just didn't know it yet. Carlos looked at her with such contempt it made my skin crawl. You'll regret this. You could have had everything. I already had everything, Crystal said, looking at me. I just couldn't see it. 2 weeks later, Crystal sat across from me in my office, the cancelled wedding contract between us. She'd lost weight, her eyes were red-rimmed, but she looked more like herself than she had in years. I've been going to therapy, she said. Dr. Morrison, no relation, specializes in family trauma and toxic relationships. She's helping me understand how I got here. And where did you get? I asked gently. Lost. Crystal's voice cracked. I got so lost, JJ. After Mama died, I felt like I was drowning. When Daddy married Patricia, I thought maybe she could fill that void. She couldn't, no one could, but she promised me things. Stability. Status. A life where I'd never feel that kind of loss again. And I bought it. I traded authenticity for approval. She pulled out an old photo from her purse. Mama, me and her at a 4th of July cookout. We were all laughing, faces shiny with watermelon juice and summer sweat. I forgot this version of us. The version where we were happy just being together. Where love wasn't conditional on achievement or appearance or anything except showing up. I never stopped being that version, I said. You just stopped looking for it. I know. God, JJ, I know. And I don't expect you to forgive me immediately. I said unforgivable things. I valued money and status over family. I called Mama's death a complication. Her voice broke completely. I don't know how to fix this. You already started, I told her. By choosing truth over comfort. By walking away from Carlos. By being here now. I called Carmen, Crystal said. We talked for 3 hours. JJ, the things he did to her. The isolation, the gaslighting, making her doubt her own perceptions. If I'd married him, I would have become a shell. Or worse, I would have become like Vivian, cruel and calculating, protecting abuse to maintain appearances. But you didn't marry him. You chose differently. Because you saved me. Just like you always have. 6 months later, Luminescence Gardens hosted a different event. Not a wedding, a celebration. We called it the Grace and Gratitude Garden Party, honoring Mama's memory and raising money for breast cancer research. Crystal had helped plan every detail, working alongside me and Deshawn and Tamika like she'd always been part of our team. Daddy came without Patricia. They'd separated after he finally confronted her about the years of manipulation and division she'd sown in our family. I was a coward, he'd told me privately. I let grief make me weak and I let Patricia exploit that weakness. I turned my back on my daughters when you needed me most. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm asking for the chance to earn it. It wasn't fixed. You don't fix 12 years of hurt in 6 months. But it was a beginning. As Crystal and I stood in the garden, surrounded by pink roses, she took my hand. I've been thinking about going back to school. Social work, maybe. Helping young women who get lost like I did. You'd be incredible at that, I said honestly. I learned from the best. He squeezed my hand. Everything I know about real strength, about sacrifice, about unconditional love. I learned that from you and Mama. It just took me too long to remember. Carmen came to the event too. She and Crystal had become friends, supporting each other through healing. Carlos is engaged again, Carmen told us quietly. To a 19-year-old college freshman. I reported everything to her school counselor and her family. They're getting her help. Good, I said. That's what we do now. We protect each other. As the sun set over luminescence gardens, turning everything golden, I felt Mama's presence so strongly I could almost smell her perfume. Crystal felt it too. I could tell by the way she looked up at the sky. She'd be proud of you, Crystal whispered. Of what you built. Of who you are. She'd be proud of both of us, I corrected. For finding our way back to each other. For choosing love over image. For remembering what actually matters. Crystal leaned her head on my shoulder just like she used to when she was 11 and the world felt too big and scary. But we weren't those people anymore. We were stronger. We were honest. We were whole. Thank you for not giving up on me, she said. Never, I promised. That's what sisters do. We show up. Even when, especially when, it's hard. The garden lights twinkled on, and somewhere in that light and love and hard-won truth, I felt like we'd finally come home.